What's up, little comers? I'm your co-host, Joku, aka Hippopotamus in a Trench Coat. And we have our host, Rosa here, aka the level 4 rapper in Satan's Rap Dungeon. Rosa, can you give us a little rap?
I got a meat to beat. Food puns, got a meat to beat. Food puns, got a meet to greet. Walmart, got a meet and greet. Pop-Tart, got a meet and greet like it's unfrosted meet and greet like I'm unmolested meet and greet. Yeah, meet and beat. Meet and beat my meat like it's a food pun. Teen Titans Go and your mama don't get none. Meet and greet. Meet and greet.
Wow. That was incredible. Just profound. Like,
I know.
I moved to tears, honestly.
Yeah.
How do I even go on? I think I'm just gonna kill myself.
Yeah, I'll take over from here then. Composting 2025. We made it a year.
Yeah, we did. We made it a year.
How does it feel to be in year 2 of composting?
It's technically not even year 2.
It's technically not even year 2.
It's like, for us, yes. For them, no.
It's the solstice today when we're recording. Happy solstice.
Anyway, how's your day going, Rosa?
It's going well. I made 0 mistakes today. There were no mistakes made. We're recording on time with no mistakes made. I got up with my alarm at a reasonable time.
Yeah, Rosa is so great at watching movies. She watches them definitely any other day before we record, like a couple hours before. She does not do that. She wakes up on time.
Yep, that's true.
Doesn't cause her co-host any sort of stress.
No.
Like did my host watch the movie? None at all.
No,
I don't think those thoughts at all. She
completely stressless.
You know, she wakes up on time when she sets her alarm.
Yep.
And I definitely do not have to call her 4 times to wake her ass up.
Yep. That would never happen.
Yeah, and this is not like it's a reoccurrence that happens. This
isn't a monthly event.
This is an isolated incident.
It doesn't happen once a month
or more. Yeah. So that's how your day's been going.
Yeah. However, if I were to make a New Year's resolution, it would be
save that.
Oh.
I'm specifically now gonna ask a question about our New Year's resolution because it kind of inspired me, honestly, and I think it would be a good question.
Sure.
Judging from when this episode's going up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Optimum Gundam style. Hey. Anyway, my day was fine. I've been up since 4. I watched a movie in that time, unlike somebody else.
Well, I did watch a movie.
Yeah, during when we were supposed to record.
That didn't happen.
Yeah.
We're lying to we're telling the truth to our audience.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you an anxiety disorder, I swear to Christ.
Nice. Anyway, I had a nice breakfast sandwich.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I've been on a kombucha kick. I'm having my lemon ginger kombucha.
Yeah.
It's something.
It's truly something.
Yerp.
Yippers.
Yippee.
Woohoo.
Last night I did a charity stream with FemTV. We raised $800 for Trans Lifeline. It was a radio show where a bunch of trans artists submitted their music to get played. It was a fun time. Rhyme did a live set. Shout her. Shout out everyone involved with that. Anyone that stopped by or donated, thank you very much. It was a fun time.
And I was off sleeping because my sleep schedule is fucked.
Yeah.
And I don't really do the live stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not a big social media person like you are. I don't have the capacity for it.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's why I don't do the Twitter. I'm never on the Twitter. I might
Yeah.
post something like once a month or twice. And I don't really do the whole live shtick. I think Rose is more attuned to that fiddle than I am.
I don't know. I just like entertaining people.
You know who also said that?
Are you gonna say Hitler?
No, the Joker.
The joke. I love entertaining.
And then I'm
people.
gonna tell you, that's not funny. And you're gonna.
That's
kill
not
yourself.
funny. The Joker. It's me, the Joker.
True. Hello, Jonkler.
They call me the Smoke.
When are we painting our faces as the Joker for an episode?
We can do that in a month.
I don't
Well,
want it,
2 months.
dude. We keep adding shit to the
Yeah,
the
we keep
bracket,
adding shit to the
and
fucking
it's like,
weekend.
bro, come on. Like, I have places I want to go for dinner, and then you also have some that you want to do, and it's like, bro, we're not going on like a fucking food like.
We're not gonna be
pilgrimage.
Teen Titans Go fat fetish content.
Yeah, we're not gonna be that.
We're not gonna come off that trip looking like Ravens OS fan 89, if you know what I mean.
Sorry, I bumped the mic because I was
It's okay.
laughing and I was covering my mouth with my drink.
Yeah, being seen laughing in Joku's religion is a shameful act.
Yeah, you get like stabbed in the back or something.
Yeah. Speaking of getting stabbed from the back, we watched 2024's Queer, directed by Luca Guadagnino.
Hey, we talked about this guy earlier this year.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
challenges.
what the heck?
He
Two
also
movies?
Yeah, and it also has the same writer, the potion seller guy, and it has same people who did score. Trent Reznor,
Yeah. This was a
who's from
a
where I'm from. I learned that the other day, so.
oh, that's cool. This is about William Lee, an American expat in his late 40s in 1950s Mexico City, leading a solitary life amidst a small American community until the arrival of one Eugene Allerton in town, a young student, who stirs William into fully establishing a meaningful connection with someone. It's a Luca Guadagnino queer love story, if you couldn't tell from the title, Queer. What did you think of the movie?
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot too.
So, Luca Guadagnino and Yorgos Lanthimos that kind of had a similar like last year for me, where they've like both released like a movie that's kind of not what I would expect from them,
Yeah.
and then they kind of go back and into a return of form, with a movie that kind of feels reminiscent of their older style. Within the same year, these two releases. So I think it's
Yeah.
just both. It's kind of funny that they both kind of have this like similarity. Yeah, and I like it, you know.
Yeah. I didn't like it quite as much as I enjoyed Challengers. However, I still
Yeah.
did very much so enjoy it. Luca's a great director, and it's very impressive that he put out two movies of this caliber over the course of a year. It just
Yeah.
shows how talented the guy is. Even if I didn't enjoy it as much as Challengers necessarily, there's so much to like about this film. Trent Reznor, obviously, his score for Challengers was one of our favorite parts. And I think the score of this movie was
Yeah,
fantastic.
bro, I was like busting that shit out after I watched the movie. I was just like, bro, find me that song, and I'm listening to it.
Yeah, I mean Trent's such a talented guy. such a talented guy. He fun fact, the vocals for my one of my favorite albums of all time, The Great Southern Trendkill from Pantera, Trent recorded all the vocals for that. He has like an involvement in everything I like, which is
I feel like I gave him a little bit of disservice because like it's actually also Actus Ross as well who's making the music, and I just only remembered Trent Reznor, so I kind of forgot Actus Ross. So my bad to Actus.
Okay.
Wait,
Why are you
so
gonna
you
name your kid Actus? What the fuck?
Oh wait, you said you loved everything that they've been a part of?
No, that's not. Those aren't the words I said.
Well, they did the score of Bird Box. The world's best movie.
Yeah. I will say I don't like Great Southern Trendkill as much anymore because two neo-Nazis were involved in that project. So, I digress. More on Queer 2024.
Yeah, you know who wrote the original like book Queer?
I do not.
It was William S. Borath. Which interesting guy if you don't know like anything about him. Like he's gay, but I believe his wife I believe he might have murdered his wife.
Oh, he's a gay guy who killed his wife?
I think it was like a game. They were like doing like Russian roulette or something.
Damn.
And she died.
Well, he's a gay guy in a straight marriage, so you know how that.
Yeah. I'm trying to look it up now. I don't know.
I'll cut out.
She also died in Mexico City. Which whenever you learn about the guy, this movie makes a lot more like sense as what it's trying to say as well. There's so much nuance within this movie that like it kind of felt overwhelming a little bit just trying to figure out what it all represented or what it all meant. I don't know if you had that kind of similar
yeah, there's
thought process.
Yeah, there's a lot of themes to this movie. Those being alienation, opiate addiction,
addiction to love and drugs. A commentary on that as well.
Yeah, one-sided relationships, queerness, no shit given the name, and what it means to love somebody or to be queer.
Yeah, there's so much like nuance to this movie, and to like the book, and it's such a personal like story to someone, that it's really interesting once you know about the guy.
Yeah, Daniel Craig plays William Lee, who's courting Eugene, played Drew Starkey. They both do a fantastic job.
Yeah, everyone does a pretty good job. I really liked Jason Schwartzman in this. He was so like funny. Like he's usually a funny guy, but like funniest part about this movie, I would say.
I would agree.
And maybe Daniel Craig being a little silly guy, being a little drunk gay guy.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. The idea of a gay man entering a queer relationship with someone who, at the end of the movie, just comes to the conclusion.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I was looking and I figured I read it. So, his wife died because William shot her in the head.
That's not.
Let me finish. Trying to shoot the glass off of her head.
Which is at the end of the movie.
Yeah. So there's more. There's more to it. There's so many layers. Whenever you like read about the guy, you're like, okay, this is all starting to like fit together and make sense of why these aspects are within this film, within this story.
Yeah.
So it definitely does help, and it's such an interesting guy. He also wrote for the movie Naked Lunch, directed by Cronenberg. Really interesting watch, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's about a Daniel Craig courting a straight man, and they enter a relationship because they both need that connection with each other. And Daniel Craig is obviously more invested in the relationship than Drew Starkey. It goes through a lot of times and places. Why don't we start off with
part 1?
The first part, that being in Mexico City.
Yeah. I do want to say some more thoughts before we jump into that.
Sure.
This is definitely a weird movie, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, if you're kind of expecting another Call Me By Your Name by Luca Guadagnino, you kind of get that in the first, like, part, but then it quickly transitions into, spiraling down into a different kind of, I guess, movie, really.
Yeah, it's very hard to pin down.
And it gets a little weirder.
Yeah. It feels very difficult to describe, which is why I think it's taken this long to, like, properly dive in, because there's so much context and nuance surrounding it.
Yeah.
But in the interest of time, at least, strange as this movie is, let's jump right into it.
Okay.
Part 1. Mexico City. Oh.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig. He's James Bond. Fantastic pick for this role. He fits the character so well. He's this drunkard. He's this gay drunkard who's just kind of going shallow relationship to shallow relationship in Mexico City without many proper connections. That is until Eugene comes into town and he begins courting him, despite Eugene being, at least in part, involved with a woman. And it eventually, their relationship eventually leads to them making love to each other, until Eugene kind of cuts him off for a little bit towards the midpoint of this.
Well, they have sex.
Yes.
And then he kind of closes it off.
Yeah.
Well, kind of ignores him.
Yeah. One-sided relationship. I feel like it was a very accurate portrayal of a one-sided relationship. As someone who's experienced both ends of that dynamic, I feel like both sides were very accurately portrayed in terms of the emotions around it, because it really sucks when you're very into someone, they give you a chance and it doesn't work out, and it also sucks when someone's very into you, you give them a chance and it doesn't work out, because there's that. It's just a very interesting dynamic that was put on display in a very true to life manner.
Yeah, a lot of the aspects within this film feel so true. I think one of my favorite of there's two scenes that are my favorite in this movie. The first part is in the first half. It's the first, like, sex scene. It feels like so true to life. So, like, it feels so, like, young almost.
Yeah.
Even though these characters are, like, old, you know? It feels so reminiscent of, like, an actual sexual experience, of, like, almost like a first time.
Yeah,
it's not.
It was a very good portrayal of that, the emotions of having gay sex for the first time. Because it's obviously Eugene's first time with it. It felt very reminiscent to my first queer experience having sex as a woman, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And that scene just really connected with me. There was so much, like, I felt The emotion was like palpable to me, and it felt so real, and it really just connected with me.
Yeah,
and I'll talk about another scene later that also I really liked and had another effect.
Yeah, there was an air of nostalgia to it for me.
Yeah.
It felt very warm. It felt like a fire.
This whole
lit in the
movie
log
feels
cabin.
warm.
Yeah,
Like, Call Me by Your Name, I attribute to being like a movie that I can like watch, and no matter what time of the year, if it's like cold winter, I like feel like the movie radiates the environment that is being portrayed. Like, I can feel the temperature, and I kind of got that from this movie as well. I don't think it's as palpable as Call Me, but still,
there's a lot of things, common experiences within the queer life experience put on display. Even the turmoil within this film of like one-side relationships feels almost nostalgic in a sense to me, even if it's not a very positive thing to experience.
Yeah.
Except there are those rushes within that sort of experience that are put on display in a very great way, particularly within that first sex scene. I think that scene is such a good rebuttal to the whole like stupid TikTok brain Zoomer argument of there's no need for sex scenes in movies.
That is honestly like one of the most stupidest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, like
it's all about like the manner in like what it is trying to say, and sometimes there isn't necessarily a point. Don't get me wrong, there are obnoxious bad sex scenes where it's just like objectifying women.
Yeah. It feels very arbitrary to me. Like, the example I like to think of when having that discussion is scenes on the toilet. There are scenes on the toilet that are pointless and stupid. However, there are plenty of good reasons for a scene to happen with a character on the toilet. There are scenes in The Sopranos where Tony's on the toilet reading a newspaper where incredible plot developments happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, sex is, obviously there are asexual people, there are people that don't have sex. You get my point. But it's such a commonality within the human experience. In the same way that, like, staying on the toilet is, or, like, having a bowl of cereal is. There are pointless cereal scenes in movies, but there are good scenes that involve a fucking bowl of cereal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very, very, very arbitrary criticism that's way too common. But what else in this this sort of first act did we enjoy?
Really just the whole kind of all of the feelings that were associated with it. It is a setup act.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think we expressed our favorite part of the first part.
Yeah. What didn't we like about the first part?
I'm gonna just go over my criticisms when we talk about
talk about the
end.
whole enchilada. Okay.
Yeah, because it just feels kind of strange to just go piece by piece and be like, I didn't like it in this part when I can just go over it all at once.
Yeah. I agree. Part 2, would you like to intro it?
This is the part where they travel to other South American countries.
Yep.
And we kind of see William's addiction to heroin and drugs kind of worsen. Which is a nice parallel and to his love for Eugene. I liked it. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it's a rich metaphor. It's such a high, but at the end of the day, it hurts him.
Yeah, the more he's with him, the worse his addiction gets. And I like that it doesn't feel super over. Like, it doesn't feel like it's beating you over the head with it.
Yeah,
you know?
and because it's what I really enjoy is the way they establish that connection. Is he he shoots up after he's like thinking about the sex with Eugene, or at least that's implied, which I think it's a rich metaphor. I think that it's a very accurate portrayal of opiate addiction. It makes me wonder if the author of the book was addicted to opiates at some point, because there is this constant cycle of trying to better yourself and get off of it, and then you're just like, like thrust into the worst state a human being can be put in. It's such a horrible illness. Sorry. And
the author was addicted to morphine.
Yeah. Yeah. It probably one of the best portrayals of an opiate addiction that I've seen on film, because they don't moralize it, they just show it as it is. You know what I mean? They don't act like he's a grand victim. They don't act like he's a degenerate for it. They just treat it like a illness, which it is. It's a neutral thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. There's a lot of beautiful shots within the South America trip.
Yeah.
What'd you like about this arc?
It just kind of was. It started like the road toward like us kind of getting into the weirdness of it. Kind of set up where we're going in part 3 as well. Mm-hmm. But still kind of had that like normalness to it. And I just like the progression of the characters within this part.
Yeah. They discuss more and more doing the drug Yage, otherwise known as...
You got this, bud. Rosa's researching.
I'm looking up how to pronounce ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca.
I knew how to say ayahuasca. Fuck, I'd never seen ayahuasca spelled out.
Oh, well, I think that just confirmed that you're an idiot. Welcome to the club. Anyway.
Yeah.
Go back to the club.
Go back to the club.
Anyway. You want to intro part 3?
Yeah, sure. Daniel Craig is realizing at this point that even if Eugene doesn't like dislike sexual relationships with him, he's not getting much out of it. He's sort of doing it performatively for him rather than for himself.
Yeah.
So he wants to go to what country is it?
Does the country really matter?
They want to go to the fucking jungle, and get some ayahuasca, because he believes, he references COINTELPRO, a CIA program where they used psychedelics to way oversimplify. If you want to learn about COINTELPRO, Flesh Simulator has a great video going over like all of it. But,
hey, that's the guy that we had on the podcast.
Oh my god, friend of the show.
Oh my god. That's the guy from the podcast.
Oh, it's in Brazil. They go to the Amazon rainforest in search for ayahuasca. He references the COINTELPRO experiments involving ayahuasca to use it as a form of unspoken communication or telekinesis, because I don't know, the FBI is very wacky.
A little silly, almost.
Real silly motherfuckers. So they go to the Amazon rainforest. They find a doctor researching these chemicals.
Played by Leslie Manville.
She's great.
Yeah, I love her.
Such a fun character, very funny character. She's kind of gone cuckoo from being cooped up for so long.
Yeah, she's had too many Cocoa Puffs.
Somebody's a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. So they do the drug.
They do the drug.
And then we get an awesome trip sequence.
very fun trip sequence. They're like,
which is actually my second favorite part of the movie.
yeah,
Mainly, specifically, the part where they are kind of, their bodies are fusing into one of another.
yeah. It's incredibly done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of those effects were practical.
Yeah, I think it was a mix of practical, like as practical as you could get it, along with like some VFX. But I can't not be reminded of that. Like in the theater, I was reminded of that fucking Deadpool scene with Matthew McFadden's face getting a hand put through it. Because I've seen so many fucking like videos showing the VFX process of it, and I'm like, that just looks really bad.
It looks really bad. Whack thinks it's Oscar worthy.
Yeah. Anyway,
shut up.
Honestly, no, never mind. I was gonna say something, but I'm taking it back because I'll explain later.
Yeah.
But I really liked that scene a lot.
Very cool effects in that scene.
Yeah, it was a good trip sequence for sure.
Yeah, there was a giant like bag of flesh that comes out of their mouth, almost looks like a scrotum, which explodes into blood, leaving their hearts on the ground. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
It's a really, really cool moment in the film.
Yeah.
And the trip culminates with Eugene saying to William, "I'm not queer."
Because you're not supposed to ask a guy if they're gay or not. Sorry, we didn't establish it. That was said in the first act. You're not supposed to directly ask if a person is gay or not.
Yeah, communication's really hard.
Yeah.
It was all for this really easy question that was kind of an obvious no, but I liked it.
I think it feels more what it represents to the author. If it's so personal to them, I think.
Yeah.
That I think.
And then the ending, as we alluded to, is this very, very cool sequence where...
yeah, I do like the part where they're leaving and then Eugene disappears and then we get the shot of space where Daniel Craig falls.
Yeah.
I like that scene.
Yeah, and he's looking through, so he goes big mode, and he's looking at a dollhouse of his apartment. He looks through the window and sees himself placing a glass on Eugene's head, and then he shoots Eugene in the head, just like the
also
author
the
did
carpet is a spiral.
Yep.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. The epilogue is like one of my least favorite parts of the movie.
It's unnecessary.
Like, there's parts within it that just like the big sequence is like a little too much for me.
Yeah, I wish it
like
was just
I
the
think
glass
it
on the head.
Yeah, I think it could have been done better. It just like felt a lot. It could have been toned down for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, in terms of the way it goes about ending, it does feel very drawn out.
Like I'm fine with like the ending where he kind of goes back to town.
Yeah.
And just like that. I would have been fine if it ended there.
Reflects on how things have changed. Yeah, it almost feels like they had 3 different endings and couldn't pick which one they wanted to pick.
Yeah. If I had to get
of
rid of one, it would be like that weird like
where he's an old guy, he gets Irishman CGI'd, and they lays in the bed. We were talking about
the epilogue.
Yeah. I'm not gonna spoil it. Because I don't like spoiling movies outside the reviews. But there's something to be said about cutting off a movie when it needs to be cut off. That like Anora does so well. I think that's a strong counterexample.
Yeah.
In terms of a director that makes a much braver decision, in my opinion, and a much artistically stronger decision, in my opinion, to just boom, end the movie when it needs to end. Cut to credits.
But like similar with Gone Girl, I felt like that epilogue in Gone Girl, like it could have cut away whenever like she got back,
Mhm.
or she was found again, but it keeps going for like another 30 minutes, which I think really adds to the movie. Like
I would agree.
It feels like it could cut off at that moment, but I think it adds more depth and like nuance to the movie, and it shows where he is.
Yeah, well, it's just a matter of utility, right? It's not.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
making the statement that like, oh, you shouldn't do epilogues or draw out your ending.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about a movie next where the ending kind of gets drawn out in a way I find interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I think with films that aren't just clear cut, like it's like a action movie kind of thing where, oh look, we beat the bad guy, everyone's hugging, we did it, end the movie kind of thing. When it's this more nuanced kind of storytelling, it's kind of harder to pinpoint when an ending should be cut off.
yeah, and I'm sure that if we had the ability to talk to the writer or to Luca, there would be great reasons for it.
Like, honestly, if I had to guess, I think it was just trying to accurately portray the book at the end of the day. But I think some creative decisions could have been like a little cut from it, because I still think there are interesting ideas there. It's just like translated to film, it like can be a little hot, like be a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't need the big I'm seeing into the apartment scene, low key.
Yeah. Obviously we haven't read the book.
Yeah.
However, I will say, I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not. When it comes to book to film adaptations, I think it's really lazy to criticize the film for being different than the book. You know what I mean? Because it's two completely different artistic mediums. So you're not able to do everything in a book. You might need to make changes in the interest of a better film.
Along with, like, some things might not be easily portrayed.
Yeah, I think that...
Like, there's some things that, like, a movie can do that a book can't, and vice versa.
Yeah. I think your job when making a adaptation of a book to film
Rosa's lagging.
Isn't to make the best adaptation you can. It's to make the best film you can.
Oh, okay. I got zoomy, Rosa. You sounded like Ben Shapiro there.
Damn.
You got sped up, that's why. You don't normally sound like Ben Shapiro.
Now, when it comes to making an adaptation between the book and the screen, it is the job of the director to make the best film possible, rather than the best portrayal of the book possible, in my opinion. I think that making the best possible film should always come ahead of making the most accurate adaptation of a book. You know what? Would you agree with that? A lot of the time it does go hand in hand.
I could agree with that sentiment.
But there are like one of my favorite adaptations that we talked about on the show is All Quiet on the Western Front, which has a lot cut down.
2022 one.
No, the old ass one from the 30s. There's a lot of things left on the page that makes the film better. And even then, there are changes made that I think are worse, or things kept in from the book that make it worse. So it's complicated.
Yeah. It is a very complicated subject, and like Shining's another example. You know, where
Lolita.
you alter the book, and sometimes you'll have a better product than the book, you know?
Yeah. Lolita's one of my favorite books and one of my favorite Kubrick films, and they're very different because I think Kubrick's decisions, the changes he makes in the interest of making a better film, make for a better film. However, if you were to put that film in the book, it would be a worse book.
Yeah. And that's why, like,
there's different things.
Yeah, and this thought process also translates to video games and movies, I would say, as well.
Yeah.
You know, think of, like, Uncharted. Uncharted is, like, a video game version of, like, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And then they try to make a movie of a video game where the video game is based off of a movie.
Yeah.
Which is, like, an insane, like, kind of turn of phrase that, like, doesn't like some things in video games just can't be recaptured in movies, vice versa. And it feels like a lot of video games are like trying to be movie-esque, you know, and it's a weird thing.
Artistic mediums, it's a lot harder to transfer between them, and a lot of changes need to be made. Some things are just best kept in the medium that they were originally presented in. Like,
but like
for example,
you go. No, go.
Looking over here on my right, I have every book written about the comic book Mouse and the complete graphic novel of Mouse. It's a story of the Holocaust portrayed through Art Spiegelman's fantastic comics, portraying Jews as mice, Germans as cats, quite famously, and that visual allegory and the visual medium of comics is so tied in with the story that it wouldn't work if it was animated. It wouldn't work if it was just a book. It wouldn't work if it was a live action movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are things that are unadaptable, and you should always be willing to make those changes when making an adaptation.
And I do appreciate people willing to try these adapting things into different mediums and seeing if they work. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. And it's interesting, and it's an interesting case study to kind of see them.
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, that's why a lot of video game movies suck. Because video games have to be lighter on the story.
I mean, not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
But
a lot of the time.
But, like, the thing that comes from video games is that you're playing the story. You're a part of the story.
Yeah.
You know? It's kind of harder to adapt whenever you have that kind of prior knowledge. Mm-hmm. Turn that into I'm just watching it, you know?
And a lot of the times they're a lot longer. So the world building is weaker in the film, or it's very complicated.
Like what like with Mario, what are you gonna get out of Mario?
Yeah, I mean that's why that movie was bad in my opinion. It
Both
was a
movies.
bad both. Well, yeah, obviously no shit.
Well, yeah, I
one
know.
was bad. But more interesting.
Well, I couldn't tell which one you were talking about. You just said that
I'm talking
movie.
about the animated one.
Okay.
The newer one, the animated one.
It just plays it safe.
It's
honestly.
a boring bad movie because I love Mario. There's nothing that you can really adapt to a feature-length film. You can make a fun short film, but
it just is references. Oh, look, Mario Kart. Oh, look, the course. I play that. You know, it's like jingling keys.
The only risk that they really took with it is Mario's from the real world. He's transported to the Mushroom Kingdom. That's the only change that they made.
Like adding some like background or like some strange like
world
thing.
Building. But even then, it has to be based on the Mario Brothers arcade game. So it's and the Wrecking Crew game.
Yeah, it's a whole can of worms.
It doesn't work. All this to say, I think this is a good adaptation. However,
of a book.
Of a book.
Maybe one day we'll get an interesting adaptation.
Luca Guadagnino will make a video game movie adaptation of the game Worms 3D.
But yeah. The only one that I think I've heard good things about for being a video game adaptation is The Last of Us TV show, which Last of Us is basically a movie. So you know what would be what is like the combination of both mediums?
What?
The Telltale Heart games. It's like that Walking Dead game, Minecraft Story Mode.
Yeah, that's Minecraft Story Mode.
That's what you.
It's the Hegelian dialectic.
It's just like a choose your. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay. Well,
we're getting so sucked into this rabbit hole.
But what else did we like about Queer?
I think I've expressed everything that I like. We like the acting, the feel of the movie.
I said didn't like.
Oh, didn't like. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, you're fine.
We talked about the ending, the epilogue. Didn't really like that. There was also some weird like CGI aspects. I remember specifically in part 2, there's like an establishing shot with like cars going by, and it's all like visual effects, and I'm like,
It's
nothing.
so
This isn't.
obvious.
This isn't contributing anything. It's like a Family Guy exterior house shot. I don't know why it's here. This just looks like a waste of money almost.
Like, if you can't source antique cars, just don't include it.
Yeah, it was unnecessary.
It doesn't.
It had me questioning why it was there.
And it looked really amateurish for how good so much of the VFX work in this movie is. Because
like the
obviously,
perspective was all weird. Whenever like a car came, like, because like it's like a highway, and one car like came toward like the camera and turned, it like looked really weird.
Yeah, like I don't hate VFX. I love VFX.
Yeah,
I have
like
VFX
like the
artists
movie that does have good VFX at points.
Yeah,
it's just
and
like,
I totally
why
get
there?
That most VFX is background work, and it's basically just what VFX should be, in my opinion, is what we can't do with practical effects.
Yeah.
What's impossible to do with practical effects, we do with VFX. And fortunately, due to the fact that VFX artists don't have a union, so much is put on VFX artists' plate. Obviously, this isn't the case of that. This is the case of like background work just done poorly. However,
also I feel like there's not a recognition of like background VFX.
Yeah.
VFX just feels so boiled down to like CGI, like Avatar-esque like work that like I think people forget that it's often used to like touch up looks of movies that like are just like this, you know?
Yeah. And
where there's
like, you talk to VFX artists and they agree that like they're over relied on, they're overworked. What they like doing, what they think looks good, is these background niceties that and that just help achieve the unachievable or impractical. Not the Lion King Mufasa.
Yeah, which is currently bombing.
Yeah.
Not really. Sorry. But compared to Sonic is making double whatever fucking Mufasa is making. On opening day, I think the numbers were 70 million for Sonic, and 35 million for Mufasa.
Yeah.
Like like all of my friends on social media are just like Sonic, and I'm like, nobody is seeing Mufasa.
Well, yeah, to be fair, we're not. I feel like it's just millennials that grew up with the Lion King.
Yeah, even so though, like Sonic is a big draw.
Oh yeah,
especially Shadow.
True.
What I'd let Shadow do to me.
Yeah.
You know
wait,
wait. You know who should have played Sonic?
No. Wait, did you just say what I'd let Shadow do to me?
No.
Oh.
You're fucking an idiot.
Sonic
should have been played.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow should have been played by Adrian Brody.
True.
Or the voice actor for Mesmer the Impaler from Elden Ring.
Facts. Do you want to score it?
Because then I'd let Shadow go to town.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a 12 out of 15.
I am thinking a 11.5 out of 15. Putting it at 23.5. That took me way too long.
Math is hard.
Math is really hard. Math is...
Hey, Rosa.
So is giving up on time.
Hey, Rosa. Level 4 rapper. Give us a rap. About what you thought of Queer.
Queer. The movie was very queer. West Coast. Do a toast. Yeah. Go out west. Sucking on my mama's breast. Hey, yo.
Ow. Ow.
So that puts this movie between Killers of the Flower Moon and Porco Rosso.
Cool.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job, Luca. You did it.
Yeah. Even though you did better.
You did better with Challenger. Challenger's clear. See Challengers if you haven't already. That movie's so fucking fun. And watch this.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't do it justice. It's such a wild movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up next.
I recommended a movie for us to watch. I recommended a movie called Belladonna of Sadness. This is an animated movie from 1973. This is a Japanese movie directed by Ichi Yamamoto. And this is a movie. There's so many things when you look this movie up.
One big thing I want to get.
Wait.
But no,
like,
I just want to make sure we say this right away. Huge trigger warning, discussions of sexual assault.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear that discussion,
sorry.
Please.
Worked my mic again.
I
keep doing it with my body.
Oh, you're totally fine. Just skip this review.
Yeah.
Skip to we have timestamps down below. You can skip to what we score it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to make sure we get that out of the way. Sorry for
Yeah. No, you're fine. There is so much like strange discourse around this movie. So many this has both sides of the spectrum of enjoying this movie, and also hating it. This is definitely a cult film. Also, this movie is attributed with bankrupting the animation studio that animated it. I don't know if you know that.
No.
This was the last movie that was animated by this studio.
Long way to go out.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that I write in my notes is, if you think about it, it's like Pink Floyd's The Wall, but for women.
Literally. Okay.
Yeah. I got it.
Okay.
So this is a revenge in quotation story in which a French woman is by the king and then is subsequently strangled unconscious by her husband.
She's sexually assaulted.
Yeah, which in turn causes her to make a deal with the devil. So that's a little simple synopsis.
For first things that you're gonna notice watching this movie, one,
penis.
Yeah, maybe if you're fucking gay, if you're a gay man.
What did you notice? Vagina.
What I noticed is pussy, and also, more importantly than that, beautiful watercolor paintings. Most of this film is painted. It's a lot of still paintings, and it's beautiful. It's one of the most unique and gorgeous films I've ever seen. Like, there are so many paintings in this movie where I'm like, dude, I should use that as an album cover for the EP I'm working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so much good shit in this movie. And secondly, this is a bit of a hot take. This might just straight up be the best film score I've ever heard.
Strongest points within this movie for me, animation. I'm kind of surprised we don't get enough like mixed media within our animation. It dawned on me when watching this. I'm surprised that we haven't gotten, a bare breakdown within animation from maybe going from like within a movie that translate to, sorry, I'm messing up words, but
you're fine.
Where it flows from different mediums of like 3D to 2D to even like stop motion or like the barest essentials of animation that you can get. I'm surprised that we haven't explored that within animation yet with a movie. And I really liked the visuals within this movie.
Yeah, it's all.
And I wish it went further with like proper painting.
Yeah, there are a couple of it's mostly watercolors, which are gorgeous. However, there are some acrylic paintings that look fantastic in this film.
Yeah.
And
I wish it went further with that.
Yeah, I wish that there was more mixed medium within a shot. Each shot confines itself to cell animation, Cell animation usually over a watercolor painting or acrylic, which is really unique and cool. I've never seen anything like it. Very good way of operating within a financial constraint. Apparently they didn't do a good job with that though.
This is actually there is 2 other movies. This is a like set of 3 of like historical movies. I believe the other ones were, one was 1001 Night and the other was Cleopatra. Just looking at stills from these movies, they look more traditional, like 2D
70s anime, yeah.
Yeah. This one is the one that is more out there in its style.
This film was so ahead of its time, coming out in 1973. In terms of very experimental anime movies, this is so cutting edge. And if
you could see why it becomes a cult film, like Houseu as well.
Yeah, like if you didn't tell me when this was made, I would have assumed 80s. With how cutting edge it is, with how bombastic and incredible the psychedelic jazz score is.
Yeah, the score is also like, for like a French like story that they're telling, this like jazz is so like bizarrely placed, but like it's so good that I like
fitting and perfect.
Like it just works.
Yeah, I enjoy. Obviously, it's a very inspired by French expressionism. I can't get over it. The music is perfect. The music is literally like 10 out of 10, no notes. Straight up, probably the best score to a film I've ever heard. And I don't say that lightly. But overall, looking at this film holistically, what did you think?
It's an insane watch.
Yes.
What this movie is saying doesn't really work for me. Like Queer, it has a lot of nuances and when it's messages and themes. Yeah, it doesn't really work for me, and it can kind of come off as feeling a little misogynistic.
I would agree.
The story doesn't work as well as the presented media that this movie is within, which is kind of sad to say.
Okay, I know it's weird talking about it, but just in the interest of being as clear as possible, what is the message that you think this film is presenting that you think is misogynistic?
Where to begin?
Okay. We did the trigger warnings.
What?
We did the trigger warnings.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's so much rape within this.
Yeah.
There's like, it's too much.
Yeah, there's a bit too much rape going on here.
There's so much. There's so many penises.
It's very sexual.
Yeah.
The first sexual assault scene I actually liked. I thought it was a great allegory in terms of being torn apart. I thought
can you guess what book this movie is an adaptation of? It's a book called Satanism and Witchcraft, written by
that's actually on my watch. That's on my reading
Jules
list.
Michelet.
What the fuck? That's on my reading list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of an insane adaptation. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought the first one worked with me. It was brutal without being sexualizing.
Which one? The first part?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
The film's sexual, but without being masturbatory, if that makes sense. I think it's presenting a straightforward look at femininity without being made for men, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think it's meant to be sexy. It's a sexual film, but I don't think it's meant to be.
Yeah, that's why every fucking
odd.
video that anyone talks about this movie in, they started off by saying, "This is an adult anime." Which is literally what it says on the Wikipedia.
Dude, I hate media literacy.
Like
is dead.
dude, the first sentence is Belladonna of Sadness is a Japanese adult animated surrealist art film.
I disagree that there's anything outwardly pornographic about this film. I don't think that rape is sex, and I don't think that the female form is inherently sexual. It's just a body.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that people are very immature when engaging with art about femininity, about these topics.
Yeah.
And they just want to say, like, boobs pog. Like, my favorite anime of all time is Kill la Kill, and it uses the male gaze as a literary device to comment on femininity and fascism. But people just look at it and they're like, haha, boobs anime.
Yeah.
It's not.
But, like, I think part of the problem that comes is, like, there's so much. There's a lot with it where, like, we're getting a little too many montages of, like, man fist become penis.
Yeah.
And, like elephant pussy mouth thing, dog wizard fucking woman. I'm watching the montage right now and I'm just describing what I'm seeing.
Yeah, there's a lot of very surrealist montages of
and
sexual
it, like it just, like, it's too much. It can feel, it's a lot.
I would agree. This movie is a lot. I would say overall I did enjoy it. However, it can. I think overall it's somewhat feminist but misguided.
Yeah.
The idea is, like, her female rage takes the form of the devil. She ends up getting burned at the stake. And her female rage is put in the mind of every woman in France, leading to the French Revolution.
The French Revolution. It's a little weird. Not gonna lie. You know that picture at the very end of the movie?
Yeah.
Not even from the French Revolution.
Yeah.
That's from a different revolution that happened like 40 years later.
Yeah, that's from a different French Revolution.
Yeah, so...
It doesn't really...
It doesn't work.
And I don't know, its understanding of how French feudalism functioned doesn't really work.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a niche critique. However, I didn't realize it was France until the end.
Yeah.
Because I just assumed generic Europe, because this isn't really an accurate portrayal of anything to do with feudalism. Also, I will say, for no fucking reason, they include a anti-Semitic moneylender character who isn't loyal to the king, is loyal only to money, with a giant nose. They literally just do the dual loyalty trope with an anti-Semitic caricature, which, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
There's a certain association with Aryanhood and power, which, I mean, that's present all across Japanese media. Look at, like, Super Saiyan and Dragon Ball, for example.
Yeah.
Which I find mildly distasteful. I don't know. There's this idea that being assaulted is a shameful act. It's something that a woman should be ashamed of, that I dislike.
Yeah.
What else did you dislike?
Basically, we kind of gone over most of it, I think.
The anti-Semitic character was kind of funny. It caught me completely off guard.
Yeah, but
then they're like, loyal only to money. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of it, some of the devil being, like, shaped as a dick is, like, a little too on the head for me.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, come on.
I
Come
thought.
Like, I
What?
get what you're trying to say, but like,
No, I get it. It's like it's implying that the devil touching her is her touching herself. It's masturbation. It's
yeah,
expressing her sexuality, absent a man. However, it's a little bit on the nose with its allegory to the point
Yeah.
that it ends up getting lost in its own allegory.
yeah,
To where I'm like, does the penis literally represent a penis? Which I don't think it does. I think the film's smarter than that. However, I'm not ashamed. I wouldn't shame anyone from coming away from this movie like that was a bit shallow, because of the
Yeah.
fact that it tries to simplify its allegory to the point that a lot of the time you're missing the allegory because
Yeah.
of it being oversimplified.
Yeah.
I'm warm towards the movie, but a lot of it was so much of what I liked makes me disappointed with the film, wishing it was better in its
Yeah.
most weak aspects. Because I don't know, I hate like having this film with this incredible soundtrack and beautiful animation style have so much I dislike about it. Like, I wish
Yeah.
I could say I loved everything about this movie, having just watched a film that is perhaps my favorite film score of all time,
yeah,
but I can't. I can say it's just above average, but I can't say much more than that with how weak so much else in this movie is. It's the most interestingly slightly above average film I've ever watched, because what's great about it is as great as some of the greatest films I've ever watched, and what's bad about it is amateurish to the point that I think it's a young adult novel.
yeah. This is why I picked that movie.
Yeah, a very interesting pick.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. Definitely check it out. I
Yeah.
can see why it's so...
Don't watch it with your parents or something. I don't know.
I will say I was kind of self-conscious of the fact that I was listening to this with the studio monitors kind of loud because that score's so banging. And
Yeah.
then there would just be,
Moaning.
yeah,
Um,
like scream moaning. And it's like,
yeah.
either way. Closing
yeah.
thoughts?
Woman's Pink Floyd The Wall. I don't know.
Literally.
I don't
It's
know,
a
man.
femcel must watch, I will say. This is required.
Yeah, if you
reading.
like Perfect Blue or stuff like that, you'll probably maybe make some connection with it. I'm not referencing Asuka from Eva.
No, I was just pointing at my Joker Asuka painting.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm... You wanna
It
score
reminded me of things. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Things that came out after the fact.
Definitely.
Because I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling simple 9.
Yeah, I'm also thinking 9.
It's like there's
It's
so much to it
more-
that I like that there is to appreciate, yet also not at the same time.
Actually, I think 9.5. 9.5 reflects more how I feel. That puts this movie between The Apprentice and Serial Killing for Fun and Profit.
Cool.
All right.
We have some questions here that I have came up with.
Sure.
Starting off, what is your New Year's resolutions?
My New Year's resolution is to make sure that I have movies watched at least one day before the recording,
Nice.
and to wake up with my alarm.
Wow, so brave.
I know. I have a hard job.
Any serious New Year's resolutions?
Well,
or
that
do you
is a
not-
serious.
Or do you not like partake?
I want to go. Dude, this is such a basic one. I want.
I wanna go to
I
the
just want to
gym.
work out more. I work out a little bit already, but I'd like to work out more.
Yeah. I don't know what New Year's resolutions I have. I don't really do them. It's all basic stuff to me, which is always like the same mentality that I have every year. Just try to be the best person I can be.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I don't know.
Be outside. Spend more time in reality. I don't know. Just like basic, fundamental stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Last year, I found myself reading a lot. Second half of the year.
Mhm.
Did you laugh?
No, I said.
Oh, sorry. I mean, you know. So I actually really enjoyed that because, like, I like reading. I just feel like personally, school kind of makes it a little unenjoyable and can kind of somewhat alienate. I feel like that's such a strong word for it in this case. But sorry, I might sneeze here. But whenever you like read for yourself and like read what you want to read, it's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
So just kind of reading more, more than I am right now, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of maybe a goal of mine.
Yeah, next year, I like to view self-improvement as a constant rather than a yearly event. But
yeah, but it's nice to kind of have that year of reflection and then kind of move forward and like the goals that you want to set. You know, that's why I don't.
I don't know. I'd like to just improve with this show. I'd like to. There's a lot of things I know I can improve with this show. That I like to set into motion. Some of those are small, but it should like make a website for it.
Make stickers.
Yeah, make stickers maybe if you guys would like to buy a sticker.
Yeah, stuff like that.
And also like just like when it comes to reading, I do like to set goals for the start of a year with like an author I want to dive really into. And I'd like to read through the Marxist.org Amadeo Bordiga archives, which will be a lot of work reading through everything this guy's wrote that's been translated. However, I would like to do it, and I think that academically I gain a lot from doing it.
Yeah.
I'd also like to I don't know. I'd like to be more involved in other people's content. I'd like to do more networking. I love meeting people. I mean, I've been doing that, like Rose Media.
It's like you're an organizer or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Rose Media YT is having me be the voice of Rosa Luxemburg in their videos, which is cool. So I'd like to do shit like that. Like if you're a video essayist, like I'd love to read quotes for you. I don't know. I like meeting people. I'd like to get out more. Yeah, when I got fired from my job, I got depressed and kind of became a shut-in this year. And I don't know. I wasn't going out as much as I should have.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to get yourself out. Like,
no, it is.
Even like sometimes movies really help with that sometimes. Because like I don't drive and it's a whole process to go see a movie. And sometimes, you know, the movie is Moana 2 and it's just an excuse for you to kind of just get outside, you know? For me at least, like I don't know, whenever you're without a car, it kind of feels pointless to shop a little for me. I have to, it's like a whole process. I have to go take the train, take the bus, and shit like that. So just like kind of having a goal of a movie helps me at least.
I'm gonna try and like make sure that like if I'm going to see a movie, I'll ask a couple of friends about it.
Yeah, cause like the thing about the movie is like I'm adding more to my day. I'm taking the time with my movie to go to a coffee shop and read for an hour or two. Like I should shopping like that gives me excuse to do shopping without just like feeling like I'm doing shopping just to
and
I don't know, shop.
I don't know. I feel like you're always bound to, like even if working on this show has given me a purpose in this past year, it can feel maddening the fact that this you've been in my room. My room's very small. And it's become where I play
prison
music.
Cell.
It's become my office. It's become where I sleep. It was always where I slept. But you get what I mean.
Right.
I do
so
so
it's a
much.
Prison cell.
Either way, I do so much in here, and I think that rather than reading at home, I should go read at a library. I should go read at the I should start
Yeah, I
helping
like
out
to
at the concert venue I used to help run.
Yeah,
I
like,
completely
I like
fell
to
off of
read-
that, and I feel bad about it.
like I like to read out side and like go places to read, because like it's so distracting within my room, because I have like monitors and shit. I like whatever, like just separating myself from my like usual environment really helps.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to some people about reading, because they had like opinions of like reading is like dumb, this like stupid kind of mentality that like reading is bad or not understanding it. And I was trying to convey to them that like there's alternatives to how you read. It's not set in one way. Like reading for yourself is really enjoyable, you know, and not having to do it for like a deadline or writing a paper is like so much more fulfilling, and finding what you like is kind of nice. You know?
And it's fun to know a lot about something. And
Yeah.
it's fun to be able to engage with art knowing a lot about something. Like, having read a lot of Marx, having read a lot of history, having read a lot of political theory and philosophy. I need to read more philosophy. I haven't read a lot of philosophy, but
I like fiction. Bah.
but no, even then, it makes everything else that you read more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because you're learning about a specific field. In my opinion, is very fun. It's cool to be able to, not officially, but just try and become an expert in something.
Yeah.
It's personally fulfilling.
Yeah. And yeah, you know, changing your environment can be beneficial.
Yeah.
Everyone's different with how they intake media.
Yeah.
You know, that's why some people can easily do a movie theater. And we had this conversation with movies too, because some of the people shared the same sentiment about books and movies, that like they just can't do movies, and it's just like environment, mental factors. Like it is hard even at home to like focus on a movie sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
And like movie theaters are so easy because, you know, there's such a clear-cut parameter.
I'd like to next year. I definitely like to be better about scheduling. Be like, even shit as simple and stupid as like, watch this movie on this day, which I stupidly enough struggle with. As simple as it sounds.
Yeah, I mean, like we all have our vices and our we all have our problems. I'm not saying like not watching a movie on a day is as comparable as a vice to heroin being
gambling.
A vice. Yeah, you know,
dude.
But we all have like things we struggle with, and we're trying to get better.
That Steve Harvey TikTok where he's like, people say that Africa's struggling. And I say, build a couple of casinos there. And the kids will make millions of dollars to give back to their communities.
True. That's kind of awesome. But yeah. Anyway, I have another question here.
Sure.
Favorite midnight snack? What's your go-to midnight snack?
Dude, I'm a little freak. My go-to snack at any time is unsalted whole cashews.
It feels so unfulfilling.
It's so fulfilling. You have no idea.
Dude, like salted
it's
nuts,
orgasmic in a sense.
Salted nuts I could get behind, but like I'm talking like something you gotta make.
Oh, like making something?
Mine is always like a plate of eggs. Like it's not hard, and like it's just like it has like the amount of like savory I'm looking for, and like the texture I'm looking for, along with like the simplicity of it, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to bust out a whole fucking meal. I'm not trying to cook a whole burger. I'm trying to do something simple that's like delicious.
Yeah, what's the craziest fucking midnight snack you've ever made?
I don't know.
For me, the most deranged one was at 1:30 in the morning, I got up, started peeling potatoes and making latke. I just made latke.
That sounds like a you thing.
My dad comes to me and says, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, I'm making latke.
Yeah, that does sound like a you thing.
He had the latke with me. It was lit.
Nice. Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
Do you have any?
What are your thoughts on the Mr. Beast games?
Oh, the Mr. Beast Games TV show. We watched some of that last night. We watched about like 5 minutes, and it was kind of depressing, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's like indescribable. It's dystopian. You need to watch. Everyone needs to watch it. It is the most dystopian.
At least like the first 5 minutes.
It's scary. It's like terrifying.
Yeah, it's like any dystopian like show or anything, like fucking Battle Royale or Hunger Games or fucking Squid Games. Like, not all of those are comparable in their satire of competitive ship within
Punishment Park.
That's not really like a game to get yourself out of poverty.
Well, I mean, that's what it's kind of a satire.
Yeah.
But it is just someone having watched Squid Games and is like, we need to do that, which is insane. It's insane.
Yeah.
It is
it's
insane.
like somebody completely missing the point of, of it.
Like,
and it's
I legitimately think that satire is dead. Anti-capitalist satire is dead because every critique of capitalism is just reabsorbed into the capitalist framework. I mean, look at this show even. We sit here and we critique capitalism to charge people $5 a month to monetize it, to make it a product, to be bought and sold.
Yeah.
It's
disband the
madness.
Patreon right now.
Yeah, no.
Everyone join the Discord now. Flood in, flood it.
Flood, give us money.
Honestly,
if you're part of the real
honestly-
movement to change the present state of things, it's not the strongest example, but you kind of get my point that every meaningful critique of the present state of things is reabsorbed into the present state of things. It's the society of the spectacle.
Yeah, but yeah, back to Mr. Beast. It's so dystopian in nature to watch. It's like mind-numbingly like brain rotting in the sense of like the editing is atrocious. It's like you ever see that clip of Bohemian Rhapsody where there's like 80 cuts in like the scene, like a 2-minute scene of like a conversation of just people talking?
Yeah.
It's like that, you know?
Yeah, Mr. Beast is such an enigma. It's crazy. For obvious reasons, I'm not gonna say who. I talked to somebody involved with his last person to leave the cube wins $1 million show, or however much it was, and it they said that guy's a sociopath. Everybody talks shit about him behind his back. People are only around him because he has all of this fucking money and fame. He's like a cartoon parody of liberalism. He is just the personification of American liberalism, where you're just like
I don't know what person over the age of 20 is watching Mr. Beast, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to its editing is so obnoxious that I feel like if you showed it to someone over 30, they'd just die.
Yeah, I can't really handle watching short form content.
It's so anxiety inducing almost.
Yeah, and it's you see shows like Cold Ones, which I enjoy, falling into that shit because it's the YouTube meta.
Yeah,
and that's not to diss anyone involved with Cold Ones. They all seem like great people.
Yeah, it's just it's too much for me to handle sometimes. It's a lot.
I mean, you see that huge divide in terms of people who consume video content. Because, our show, a lot more slow paced. Our median viewer is 30.
Yeah.
I look at the YouTube analytics, and it's our over 50% of our audience are between the ages of 20 and 44.
Damn, that's kind of crazy.
25 and
Who would want to
44.
listen to two trees talk about movies.
Yeah.
We're both like 20.
Yeah, we're both 20 years.
Who can't even like go to a bar and get a drink.
Yeah, but I take that as a compliment. I think it's nice having a older audience.
Yeah.
Our audience is pretty intelligent, which I
like. I like discussions within movies personally. That's like where that's my realm of enjoyment. So I like having that kind of banter.
Yeah. And most of the content I watch is that sort of long form shit, like Alpha Red Plus, Alpha Red Gold, Alpha Red Platinum, Alpha Red Deluxe, whatever you want to call it, has been my favorite YouTube channel for like the past 7 years. And it's just unedited Let's Plays where it's like Jacob and Joe playing a game for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And that's the video. I enjoy that. And they've talked about their demographic breakdown. It's like, again, top demographics 25 to 44.
Yeah.
And
my favorite Let's Play channel is Lil Aggie. Who like just a Soulsborne YouTuber, who just streams like challenge runs and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's like an hour-long video, you know?
Yeah.
And it's entertaining to me. I could sit there and watch like an 8-hour stream. And it's not like a Quibble Cop kind of thing where it's like, okay guys, we're doing an Elden Ring stream. I'm gonna go here.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty like low key and chill.
Yeah, that I don't like short form content, really.
Yeah.
And I mean Alfred,
like we watch Instagram reels like for like the past like 2 weeks,
and I don't like it.
My brain is
me to that.
like my brain is numb to it. I'm done with this.
I only watched them because you liked streaming them with me.
I try to save you the good ones.
Yeah, you save me the good shit, which I appreciate.
Like the stuff that I see on my actual feed, like my follow list.
But
and then it that's what I originally saved. Like I only like follow the people that I follow, and then like whenever I'm streaming to you, it like stems into me like exploring more, you know, on like an explore page, which not good.
I mean, Jacob Alfarad had in a recent video, he talked about like the whole idea of like people outgrowing his content on the main channel as the YouTube meta evolves into like these hyper edited videos. I mean, I have respect for what he does. He says he enjoys doing the content. I believe him. But it's like, I don't know. I'm really, for the first time with the advancement of YouTube and the YouTube meta, kind of feeling the fact that I am getting older and I'm not that target demographic for very mainstream.
Every day I'm
YouTube
getting
anymore.
older. Every day I'm getting older.
But you get what I mean.
Yeah, I know. I'm just quoting a stupid fucking video.
Yeah. It was stupid.
Here, wait. Can I show you it?
No.
Please. It's awesome.
You're
it's
brain
It's
melted.
Burroughs. It's Burroughs.
What the fuck is that?
It's the guy that spent like thousands of dollars on the Hella Boss art.
Oh, that guy. I love that guy.
Here, it's an awesome video. I just want to show it to you real quick because it's like 30.
Oh, this video is incredible.
Yeah. Damn. Okay, that's
Each day
sorry.
we're getting older.
But
Each day we're getting older. Each day we're getting older.
Damn. But yeah, like the Beast games, what Mr. Beast does, it's like recently, you know, there's like one little short form guy that I like I thought his shtick was a little comical, but like Mr. Beast invited like all of the quote unquote memes to like a suite in like New York,
Yeah.
for like photo shoots and whatnot, and like it's just so depressing to
he
look at.
He represents a cultural rot, I think.
Yeah.
Pine Lee made a good video essay called The Mr. Beastification of YouTube. Everyone's watched it at this point. But yeah, he's just indicative of a cultural rot. Honest to God, I might write an article about Mr. Beast to submit to the Jacobin at some point.
It's just so hard to, like, I don't know. Like, part of it stems from just, like, scratching that itch of, like, non-stop, like, just colors, that jingling key mentality, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that I think works, and I think that, like, is one of, like, a problem that has, like, recently stemmed from technology.
Yeah. And I do think it's artistic and cultural rot. Because it's not furthering the dialectic of creativity. It's not furthering raising the bar of art. It's not expressing anything. It's emotionless, vapid, mass-consumed garbage created to make as much money as possible.
Yeah. The only person that I've seen who's really, like, done something with, like, short form media and kind of expanded on it was Connor O'Malley.
Yeah, I was going to talk about 103 Fever.
Yeah. 103 Fever is a notorious video that I love. Funny guy. He released a movie this year. It's on YouTube. Documentary movie shitpost called Rap World. If you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. Watch it. It's really good. He also did a short film movie called The Mask from last year. Also really good. Check it out. But he's just a really funny guy. Yeah. And he, like, knows the bounds of short form, like, media, and, like, knows how to satire it.
Yeah, he's a very smart guy too.
You know, he was a writer on Conan, right?
Yeah. I think 103 Fever, while being, like, the funniest video I've seen all year, it's also a fantastic cultural critique of this cultural rot that we're talking about, where it's constant reference humor, just taking these cultural abstractions and wringing them of all meaning. Just yell into camera, cultural reference, and then trying to, like, act like you're a good person for making your content, even though you're making meaningless, vapid garbage, which is the whole, like, we're like the army for smiles with the positivity force. Which, it's lowbrow in many aspects, but he's a smart guy. He's a fantastic cultural critic, and I think that 103 Fever is a fantastic art piece critiquing this Mr. Beastified rot that we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely. He's someone that I really like, and I think he's a really funny guy. I think he's currently going on tour, doing some stand-up. But
funny guy.
Wish he was coming to where I'm around, but no. Rap World. It's on YouTube. Came out this year.
Watch it.
It's really good. That means you too, Rosa.
I should watch it. I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
But I think it was a good episode.
Yeah. You have a movie to pick, bitch.
I am going to be recommending for next time Working Man's Death from 2005, directed by Michael Glowalker, with a soundtrack from John Zorn, one of my favorite composers.
2 hours. You bitch. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I know, I'm kidding.
Dude, I was considering picking 1900, and then I was like, oh, that shit's 5 hours long.
Bro, please do not pick movies where we have, like, less than a week turnover rate.
Yeah.
Where they are, like, super complex.
That's why I picked Working Man's Death. It's complex. No, Working Man's Death is complex, but it's not It's not a 5-hour long historical drama.
That's why I picked Belladonna of Sadness. Like, it has some complexities to it.
We literally talked about this last episode. We're
I know.
over. Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Thanks for coming on this journey with us. My name has been Wadabuda Potato in the Spudnik ground. Shoot that shit into outer space. Call me Spudnik.
Wait,
and
you're a level 3 rapper.
I'm a level 2, excuse you.
Oh.
Anyway, and I'm joined by
a level 4 rapper sitting on the crapper like I'm Tony Soprano. Bring out the mano. What's he gonna do? Shoot it in the mayonnaise like it was glue. Drink your cum too, like it was glue. Gibbly doo.
Anyway, we're rap posting.
Ba-la-ba-ba-la-ba-ba-la.